Today's episode covers electric vehicle range milestones, a vehicle-to-grid pilot in Texas, a sharp drop in used EV prices amid a Chinese influx, a high-profile performance face-off between Tesla and Ford, and a wide-ranging range test across Mongolia. Welcome back to Autonews Daily. I'm Leah Morgan. Let's dive into today's headlines. First up, Toyota has launched a vehicle-to-grid pilot in Texas that puts automakers and utilities back at the center of energy conversations. Vehicle-to-grid, or V2G, lets a connected electric vehicle send power back to the grid when demand is high, and this pilot tests how that interaction works in a major U.S. market with a unique grid profile. For Toyota, a company known for cautious, long-term technology moves, participating in a pilot signals a willingness to explore new services around EV ownership rather than focusing only on vehicle sales. The implications are broad. For utilities, aggregated EV batteries could act as a flexible resource to help balance supply and demand, especially during extreme weather or peak demand periods. For drivers, V2G offers potential new value streams, from credits on utility bills to incentives for flexible charging, but it also raises practical questions about battery warranties, degradation, driver convenience, and the software and communication standards that must be in place. The success of a pilot depends on economics, consumer acceptance, and clear technical standards. A pilot in Texas will give industry players a real-world sense of the trade-offs and benefits. Moving from grid integration to market signals, used electric car prices have plunged in some markets amid an influx of Chinese-made models. When a wave of competitively priced imports enters a market, it pushes down resale values across the board, and the used EV market is not immune. Owners, dealers, and finance companies all feel the pain when residual values shift unexpectedly, and OEMs watching margins and resale performance will be paying close attention. This trend reshapes how manufacturers plan product life cycles and trade-in strategies. Lower used prices can accelerate adoption for buyers who previously couldn't afford EVs, but they undermine leasing economics and could make total cost of ownership calculations less attractive for new car buyers if residual values are unstable. It also forces a rethink of distribution and after-sales strategies. More affordable new imports change the competitive landscape for domestic brands and their dealer networks, and they put pressure on warranty programs, certified pre-owned offerings, and the financial models that underpin modern vehicle sales. Shifting gears to performance, a recent head-to-head between the Tesla Model 3 Performance and the Ford Mustang Dark Horse highlighted how sport-focused EVs are rewriting expectations. When legacy performance nameplates meet electric platforms, the conversation isn't just about straight-line speed anymore. Handling, braking, software-controlled dynamics, and thermal management come into play. The matchup underscored how quickly EVs have matured in driver engagement, and it speaks to a broader strategic pivot by traditional brands to claim their place in the performance segment. Races and drag strip showdowns matter beyond headlines because they shape brand perception and customer desire. A victory on track can translate into showroom interest. But the important measures for everyday buyers remain range under real conditions, charging behavior, and total cost. Still, track-focused comparisons force engineers to prioritize cooling systems, regenerative braking balance, and chassis tuning, improvements that eventually trickle down to mainstream models. Ultimately, this showdown illustrates that competition is now as much about software and thermal strategy as it is about electric motors and torque numbers. Next, a large-scale range test that put 67 electric vehicles through their paces across Mongolia offered a window into how different EVs behave outside controlled lab conditions. Testing across long distances, varying terrain, and different climates exposes the gap between advertised range and what drivers actually experience. Factors like sustained high-speed driving, elevation changes, and ambient temperature all influence energy consumption, and seeing a broad cross-section of models tested together gives a comparative snapshot that buyers find valuable. These kinds of endurance tests matter for two reasons. First, they provide practical guidance to consumers about which models maintain usable range under stress, information that complements standardized test cycle figures. Second, they push manufacturers to refine thermal management, powertrain efficiency, and charging strategies to better match real-world usage. When dozens of vehicles are monitored side by side, patterns emerge. Some platforms lose a large share of range under certain conditions, while others hold closer to their projections, and those outcomes feed back into engineering priorities and customer communications. If you've been enjoying this episode and finding our coverage useful, please like and subscribe. It helps us keep bringing the news for you. And finally, saving the most talked about development for last. Rivian has extended the claimed range of its R1T pickup to 500 miles. That's a milestone that catches immediate attention because it reframes what buyers might expect from an electric pickup in terms of capability and long-distance usability. A 500-mile figure moves the conversation from range anxiety to new considerations around battery capacity, charging stops, and how EV pickups will be used as workhorses as well as lifestyle vehicles. The broader industry impact is significant. A higher range pickup raises the bar for competitors and changes fleet calculations for businesses that consider EVs for long-haul or remote work. It also tightens the comparison with established players and other EV makers that have pushed range claims in recent years. For consumers, longer range can mean fewer charging stops and more flexibility, but it can also raise questions about cost, vehicle weight, charging infrastructure compatibility, and how trade-offs are managed between range, towing capability, and payload. Beyond the headline number, this development will accelerate conversations about charging networks tailored to trucks, the economics of battery sizing versus efficiency gains, and the policy and warranty frameworks needed to reassure buyers. Manufacturers now face a dual task, continuing to extend real-world range while ensuring that charging, service, and resale ecosystems keep pace. For the market, a 500-mile pickup redefines expectations and forces all players to respond, from startups to legacy truck makers. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow with more updates from the automotive world. See you then.